Welcome back to the Call of Duty Championship presented by Xbox. We're going to get this game underway very shortly. I am Brycey, and I am joined by the incredible Mr. X.
I'm joined by the incredible Brycey.
Thank you very much.
You're great.
So, we're going to get into this game very, very shortly, but let's talk about predictions for top 8.
Okay.
Because I'm sure... I'm going to put this out mine first, because you're obviously going to have to be a little bit biased.
I'm not going to be any biased.
So, I've actually got Cole first on my
Okay.
group. I'm thinking that realistically, and the reason I've done this, because a lot of people are saying, why not SB? And it's a very good question. It's a very good question. I'll explain my reasoning. Cole have only lost to SB. So I can guarantee what Cole have gone away and done is learn how to beat them.
Yeah.
And nobody else, really, they look confident against everyone else.
Well, you know what? I think what SB did at regionals is they really caught a lot of teams off guard. They played extremely selfish classes. So pretty much they ran marathon, steady aim, not a lot of, tacticals or trophy systems, really nothing to defend themselves. They ran extremely greedy classes and played at extremely high pace. So I think we're going to see a lot of teams doing that this weekend. I think we're going to see a lot more submachine gun play from all these players out there. On the Xbox One, the submachine guns are extremely good.
Oh, yeah.
Extremely good. So I think we're going to see a lot of play like that. And, I think a Cole SB final would be amazing to watch.
You know what? I don't actually have SB even second in my predictions.
Really? So who do you have?
I have TK.
TK.
I think TK are incredible. However, and I think the only people who are really going to beat them consistently will be Complexity. SB a third on mine.
TK could beat Complexity if Formal plays how he plays.
That guy's incredible.
He doesn't miss. The guy doesn't miss. But he's a little bit inconsistent with Call of Duty, fresh from Halo to the Call of Duty franchise just this year. I mean, how does the pressure affect him? I mean, I think he'll be fine knowing Formal, but I think he's one of the most important players of the whole event.
Oh. You know what? I was so impressed with him at US Regionals. I was like, this guy, we've talked about Halo players coming over to Call of Duty before, and there are some that adapt, some that really actually struggle, really cannot get their heads around it, cannot make the decisions as quickly, those snap kills that really could change a game.
Yeah.
But Formal, for me, like I said, especially on S&D, if one of the games I cast with him, he actually turned around the entire S&D by himself.
Yeah, against SB, I believe.
Went on an 11 streak.
Yeah.
Unbelievable play from him.
That's the type of stuff he's capable of, but he just needs to get a little bit more consistent. Like that SB game at regionals, he started out, I believe it was 1-4, 1-5. And then next thing you know, he gets 11 straight kills and they're right back in it. So if they can figure out a way to get him going consistently and put him in places he can succeed, TK has a very good shot of walking away with this.
The greatest thing about Formals? I think he's only going to get better with time.
Oh, absolutely.
The more he gets into Call of Duty, the more those fundamentals are ingrained into him from Call of Duty, he's just going to be incredible. He's definitely a player to keep an eye on.
Who are your top 4?
Okay, my top 4 are Cole, TK, SB, and then I've actually got TCM.
Okay.
And then it goes Envy, FaZe, Epsilon, Optic.
I think FaZe is going to make top 4. FaZe is in my top 4.
My top 4, those 3, for me, are all kind of interchangeable.
Yeah.
So you're going to have FaZe, TCM, Envy, TCM.
When I make predictions, I love to take people I love to go with consistency. And I think JCap and Proof are. You know what you're getting when you're taking JCap and Proof. You know they're always going to show up. You know they're going to be there. That's the type of things that I like to see.
You know what I said at regionals? I said never ever bet against JCap and Proof.
Oh, no way.
They turn up when they need to. We've seen it time and time again. They're veterans. They know what they're doing. Proof second last year, and we know how disappointed he was with that final kill in the final last year.
Man.
That's going to be playing on his mind. That guy's going to be so hungry for it.
A lot of people don't remember that. Impact came out of losers. Envy beat them. Envy was up in the finals.
They were up in the finals, and then they went all the way to the last map.
And then they were down, and they lost.
They certainly did. So, okay, let's go with your predictions then. I want to hear your predictions. I kind of put mine on the line there.
I'm just going to give you top 4. I'm not going to give you an order. I think it's going to be Cole in the top 4.
Yeah.
I think TCM will make top 4. And then I'm going to say FaZe and Optic get into the top 4. Something about Optic this weekend is...
You know what? I originally made my predictions
a week ago.
Good,
but I think they're going to pull it out.
You know what? I made my predictions a week ago, and obviously Optic just getting in the top 8. However, I was watching some of the Optic LAN going on. I was actually at the Envy house while this was going on. But I was watching the Optic LAN, and the way they were playing against SB is probably the best I've seen them play all year. Regionals, for me, they look good at regionals. And this has been said a few times. Hex said he's worried about Nadeshot never been really rated by his peers.
Yeah.
Because obviously he is Nadeshot. But for me, that was the most consistent he's ever
Oh,
played at an event.
absolutely.
He looks like the best I've ever seen him play competitive CoD. If he brings that heat to this event, then yeah, I can go with top 4.
That was the best I've seen Nadeshot play at a tournament.
Yeah.
At regionals. I thought he had really good regionals. Just overall event,
Yeah.
Search and Destroy, he was really good. I mean, he kind of won them that last game against Curse New York.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, if he can do that again, and Scump can play how we know Scump can play, and I mean, Clay is obviously still Clay. I mean, I think they're gonna, and something about these big tournaments, Bryce. Optic always shows up at these big tournaments.
Oh, they certainly do.
It used to be they'd practice online for months and couldn't win a map, looked awful, don't qualify for an event like PAX, and then they show up and they get top 3. And I think you're going to see that Optic here this weekend.
You know what I'm really looking forward to seeing? Scumpy.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to him because for me, he has got to be the quintessential player on Optic. He is, in my opinion, the best player on Optic.
Yeah.
He's incredible. And you know what? When Scump goes off,
they win.
Then he could be the best player in the world. Easy.
Right. But, I mean, he has to go off for them to win.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing that, if you're an Optic fan, that would scare me, is that he needs to consistently drop those numbers for them to win.
Unfortunately, he does most of the time.
I mean, Clay is very consistent. Clay will give you the same thing pretty much every round. You know what you're going to get from Embos, and you know what you're going to get from Nadeshot. You can't afford bad games from Scum.
No, you can't.
You're not going to win with bad games from Scum. There's a ton of pressure on him this weekend.
I think a lot of people are really just trying to figure out where these players are going to lie, and that's what another reason we're going to go back to the group play. That's why it's so important, because everybody's going to be judging how you're going to do this weekend over how you play in the groups, because it's the first real opportunity to see all these teams go head-to-head after the practice again, after they've gone away, after the in-house lands that some teams have done, and they're going to leave nothing behind this weekend. This is where you bring every single sneaky strategy you have and put it on the table.
Yeah, we've seen some crazy strategies too. I mean, from a team like Xfinity on Freight, they like to use an LMG class overkill with reflex with a submachine gun. So they'll shoot all the walls on that red building, the barn area, and they'll see if they can get hit markers and get people out of there and then push that. So we're going to see some crazy strategies this weekend.
Oh, we certainly are. Like I said, for me, these two teams won't break the top 8.
Yeah.
I think it will be a kind of an upset if they break the top 8. However, I think SK will probably come out their group. Aztecs, this is the reason this game's important. Because I think second place in this group will either be SK or Aztecs. And for me, it actually depends on this game.
Yeah.
So they kind of have to, I think they won't come first. I don't think they're going to come first in this group.
Yeah.
But second, in my mind, is very up for grabs. But
this is a big game.
Oh, it certainly is.
This is a huge game. This is, to go back to what happened to us last year at Champs, when I played, we played for Rico Dragons. It was our first match of the day. Yep. We pretty much knew that Optic was going to win the group, and it was going to be us or Rico Dragons. The first match of the day, for it to be that really important match, it was very close. I mean, but they obviously ended up winning, and right there, it puts a ton of pressure on you, because now you have to go beat the team that
you don't think you can beat.
You didn't think you can beat.
I mean, every player has that confidence to think, you know what, I can do this. I can win every single game I need to here. Yeah. However, in their head, realistically, they're going,
they're realistic, yeah.
I might not be able to beat that team. That team is incredible.
I can beat anybody, but maybe not them.
And that's kind of how it's going to play here. Like I said, they're going to be working out strategy. They're going to be working out, the numbers game. Every player does it. Even if they say they don't, they do. They work out who they're likely to beat, who they know they've got in the bag, and who they have to beat in terms of where it's going to go. And SK and Aztek will be doing that exact same thing, and it just happens that their first game and the first game of the day is the important one.
Yeah, and it's extremely hard for that first match of the day to be the most important one. Got to get up early, got to eat, got to get the blood going, because if you come out flat that first map, I mean, it could snowball after that, and then you lose the first map by a few points, and then the next map, Search and Destroy, you lose by a round, and then you start get the blood going because you're actually in the match, but by that time it's too late.
So there is one more team in this group that could come second, and it is one of the Australian teams. Mm-hmm. I believe it's T1 Dodgers. I might be wrong on immunity. I actually keep getting them wrong no matter which group they're in. Yeah. Because they keep hanging around with each other. And I'm like, oh, you're in that, and they're all wearing the same similar shirts.
You all look the same.
They keep wearing similar shirts, but they are kind of an unknown factor for me. Now, I've been speaking to BioAss, and he kind of rates them. I don't, but only because they didn't really turn up last year as much as I expected. their scene isn't as big.
Yeah.
The competition isn't as much there. So I'm kind of, if they can step up now, then they could be a complete shock factor.
I mean, Australia, they primarily play search and destroy.
Yes.
So, for the respawn game mode, it's going to be a little tough for them. That's the one thing that I think the UK teams and the North American teams have over a lot of the rest of the world. The rest of the world pretty much primarily plays search and destroy. So it's going to be interesting to see how they catch up and adapt to just the rest of the world style of play for domination and blitz. But, the Australians are extremely good at search, just like the Germans. Yeah. So, I mean, T1 Daughter is supposedly very good. From what I've heard from Bio, what I've heard from Fwiz and Puckett, they won the Australian qualifier.
The ANZ regionals.
So, I mean, I'm excited to see how they come out and play Respawn.
Yeah, I said this is the best thing about group play for me. Today is not just about for the teams. It's great, but for us, it's our first look at how everybody matches up.
Yeah, and you can kind of once you see teams match up against each other with just classes and roles and just play styles and pacing, you can kind of figure out who would be
who would beat
who, how it would play out, and there are some times where a team who isn't as skilled as one team, they can win because their play style is one that the other team doesn't really adapt to well. And then, their classes they can use extremely effectively. And one thing that these teams can do is that it's imperative they win those search and destroys. If they can win those search and destroys, which they're extremely good at, it takes a ton of pressure off to win those respawns. They only got to win one respawn.
Yeah. Well, this is the interesting thing, right? You're talking about that. It's kind of a melting pot here at Chaps. Like, the American meta at the moment, so I've been told, so I've been seeing, is 4 SMGs. Yeah. They run it on almost every single map. S&Ds are different, obviously you kind of specialise there. But for respawns, because of things like the MDAR having the longest 3-bullet kill range of any SMG, and it's actually quite far, and the fact that it's just so versatile, the Vector actually is a big factor at the moment. A lot of players starting to use that because it just melts people. A lot of teams are running 4 SMGs straight up. Yeah. Now, I know for a fact that there are some European teams here this weekend that just don't.
Yeah.
Epsilon being one of them. Swanee, he actually will pick up a SMG, but that guy loves an AR in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, so does Madcat for TCM. Yeah. He runs an AR with no quick draw, which I find mind-blowing. But he says it's extremely good, and I can understand. I mean, it's just how he likes to play. But
this is it, like people have been rating TCM, and for me, one of the reasons they've been rating them is not only that they played Envy for a week, and they actually won on maps, by the way, is not only, but they actually scrimmed against Cole. They took FaZe to the hole. They've played really well against everybody. And the best thing about them is they've adapted. Yeah. I actually saw Gunchi is typically AR, Madcat's typically AR, and they kind of switch it up. But they were free flowing with it. They were like Madcat was just picking it out, then Gunchi was going SMG.
Madcat is extremely talented. I mean, he's unbelievable. Submachine gun or AR. I mean, he's unbelievable with both. In Black Ops 2, he was primarily sub player. You know. He's always talking about his sub game's too strong.
Yep, so flawless sub is the
flawless
exact point.
Flawless sub.
But this is my point about Madcat. Now, for guys who don't know, obviously I'm from Europe. He's actually a good friend of mine as well. This guy is so versatile now. The story of how he did that, he used to be primarily AR. Like, he'd run that AR all day. What happened was the meta changed last game that required him to move out of that AR role, and he couldn't do an SMG. So what he did is he found the best SMG players in Europe and convinced them to teach him how to do it. He learned, and now he is incredible with it.
What a bad idea for those SMG players, taught him how to play.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of the thing. How many players are willing to go, you know what, I can't do this. I need to learn from somebody.
Right. No, not a lot of players are willing to put away that pride, to ask somebody else, you do it better.
Yep.
Let me watch you and figure out how to play. But that's one of the things that Cole did last year after Champs. They watched Farico Impact completely just change the way people played. They took that play style and they just tried to adapt a little bit and do it better. That I think was huge for TCM to be at the Envy House. I think that week could have kept them up to speed with North America, got them more in a groove. And I think that's the thing you're going to see more of the other teams not from North America. They're going to start coming over to North America and play against these teams.
Well, I think it was really beneficial. Not only are they coming into this more relaxed, their sleeping patterns are more in line. They're now quite comfortable being here. Like, one of the things coming over, even if you're not affected by jet lag, it's more you're just completely out your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But TCM have been over here for a week now. They're quite comfortable where they are. They've come with the Envy team over. I think they're really good friends with Envy.
Yeah, they are.
Let's actually talk a little bit about Envy, because I was watching them obviously at the Envy House, and they look really good as well.
They're a dark horse.
So good.
They're a dark horse. A lot of people not talking about Envy right now, and I think that's a good thing for Envy. Doesn't put a lot of pressure on them. And I also think that, they have 4 extremely talented players.
Yeah.
Ray is still one of the smartest players in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Nameless and Study are 2 of the more explosive players that we have.
They've been dropping fantastic numbers all week long.
When they go in, they go in. They drop numbers. Numbers. Merc is just Merc. I mean, he does a little bit of everything you need. He's the best leader, I think. If I was going to play with somebody and I wanted somebody to be a captain of team I was playing for, I would want it to be Merc. He's a guy who keeps everybody in check. And I think it's going to be important that he keeps Study in line this weekend. Study.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting point you hit on there. The dynamic within that team is kind of interesting. Like, Study and Rambo kind of going into the young gun and the old veteran.
Yeah.
Like, Rambo's the chess master and Study's the firebrand.
Yeah.
And, I actually really like that SMG pairing. So, I was watching them over the week, and, like, Rambo, like you said, he treats every game of Call of Duty like a game of chess. He actually said it. He goes, "This is a chess game for me." Whereas Study, obviously, he's just an absolute slayer.
Yeah.
And when they team up, like, if Rambo will get in a better position, but Study will have the better gun skill, and when they get together, you're like, who am I facing here in this SMG draw?
Yeah.
Because one of them is going to try and outthink me, and the other's just going to outshoot me. And it's kind of difficult for teams to adapt to 2 players at both ends of the spectrum.
I think it's one important thing, though, that, when Karma was on Envy, right? Rambo kind of just tried to put him in a spot and just kind of mold him into just a format. You don't do that to a player like Study or Karma.
Study doesn't do it.
You don't tell them like where to be, what to do. They just have a natural feel of a flow of just where to be.
Just let them go.
Right. That's a player that you just say you're using sub or an AR and you just go and do your thing because we'll play off of you. You make the plays and we'll figure out our positioning off of that.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that Nameless also for me is fantastic now at the moment. He's playing probably the best I've ever seen him play, and I fully believe he will do a lot of work here this weekend. They are one of my hot tips for this weekend. They said, you think they're a dark horse? They were a dark horse for me until I saw them play.
Yeah.
And the fact, like I said, they have had that pre-lane. They're one of these teams that have had that, what I like to call perfect practice.
Yeah.
They're playing a top team on LAN, on the Xbox One, something that not a lot of teams have actually had the chance to do.
And you see them around the venue and just in the hotel, and they seem so relaxed. Every time they're just out in public or just with each other, they seem to just be laughing and relaxing and just enjoying the weekend. So it's good that they really feel no pressure on them coming in this event. Yeah,
and I think that's really helped with the TCM coming over because they've been really relaxed around the house, and obviously they just really kind of come to this event and they're very happy and smiley. I think it's kind of been like they're sort of broed out, if you know what I mean. They've just had that opportunity they've had the practice, they've not had to stress about the practice. Having another team there, I think, has given them opportunity to kind of take a step away from each other as well. So they can be really close and break down strategies. They haven't had to be in each other's face all day because there's an entire another team there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like our first game's right about to start.
It does. SK versus Aztecs now coming up. Kivy, Rocks, Raiden, and Quickie going up against Neos, Dynamic, Clumsy, and Afro. And this game is about to get underway, and we're going to jump on board with Kivy. First of all, going to be running that MTAR.
Yeah, and this map is Freight Domination, obviously, and you're going to see pretty much 4 subs from either team. And you notice he's rocking a Danger Close class with double Semtex, so they probably will play B a little bit more passive at the start. They'll try and just bait the flag out, and then he'll try and throw those grenades and get them off.
Yeah, he certainly will. So let's see how he goes into the middle now. Grenades starting to rain down from these teams. They're just trying to get control of B. Now, very important here that when you go for B, you don't just rush it because you need to control that. Kivy picks up a kill. He's trying to hold it down now. He needs to get another kill. Unfortunately, his teammates have dropped, but they've been on B for quite a while. Raiden might be able to get that. It takes so long. He has been neutralized now. And this is the problem I was talking about, Mr. X, is if you don't get control first, you will be slapped off of it.
Yeah, and that's a huge play right there from Kivy, though, to keep that guy off of it. They had to be close to taking that flag. They were on it for pretty much 10, 15 seconds, but right now he's got to make another play. There's 3 guys on the flag. He's going to get one with a grenade, but he's going to get taken out, and, they're going to have the B flag.
They certainly are not the best start there for SK, especially on Freight. The B point on this map is notoriously difficult to take.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the hardest maps to take the B flag from. I think I prefer the side that SK is playing on because you're able to get into that bar area if you can get the B flag and, just play aggressive off the start. But interesting play from Afro right there. He's going to let the other player pass, and he's going to go try and take C, and it looks like they're going to try and flip spawn.
They certainly are. Now, Rockset's going to be on this now. He needs to make this kill. He does not manage to make it. Kivy gone back. Raiden currently actually trying to take the A point off of them. Can they get this split here? That's exactly what they need to break this one down. He's managed to get it, and now he's getting in the defensive position. He's definitely been seen there. Now they're going to try and shut him down. He's going to come straight out. No, he's going to get this away. He does actually pick up that kill. And now SK come back with a vengeance. They could have the triple cap on here.
Yeah, and they're going for that triple cap. And you see, SK is getting a favorable spawn right now. They're going to be able to take B, but it's going to be big plays from the players at the home flags. Those two players, they're going to be pretty much just fighting one-on-2 battles, one-on-1 battles at those home flags. If they can hold it, they can pretty much build a huge lead right here.
So he's got now Raiden actually come back to try and take A. They have managed to get it. The split is still on for SK as they do manage to lead here at the moment as they just got actually ties straight up. But they do have 2 points to 1. And now the smokes are going to go down in the middle. SK are going to try and put it down. Raiden's going to try and just hold it. Oh, can he get the 2 piece here as well? Does manage to pick it up, and now they've actually managed to get B. That is the triple cap in full of effect for SK.
Those are 2 huge plays right there from Raiden. He was able to get those 2 kills right on that A flag. Save that, and then he goes over to B and gets 2 kills, but it looks like he might be giving this up right here.
Raiden turns it down. It does manage to get that one as well. They're going to go and take it back. They have got a numerical advantage here in the middle, which will give them the advantage, and they do have... Oh, no, he should have made that kill.
Yeah, he got destroyed right there.
And now look at this. SK are holding this triple cap on. And they really are just putting the punishment down onto Aztecs now. Yeah,
but it looks like Aztecs is going to be able to get A. One of those players want to clutch 1v1 battle over there. And they're also going to try and take B at the same time. But it looks like Raiden, he is just tearing it up right now, Bryce. I mean, picking up 2 pieces left and right.
He certainly is. And this is kind of the difference here. SK, they didn't start off well, but all of a sudden, Aztecs have just been struggling all over the map here as SK kind of picked them apart. They had a triple cap on for so long. The score is now 56-34, and it does look like they're not going to come back into this one. That B is currently neutral. Raiden is doing exactly what he needs to do, holding up, waiting. He knows he does not have the numbers to push B yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing extremely smart right now. The one thing that I would like to see, though, he's got a trophy system in his pocket. If you're not going to use it, you might as well switch classes, use something that could be more effective.
Well, this is the talk about actually trophy systems with grenades on this one. So trophy systems on this game actually take a little bit longer to set up if you're not using strong arm. So when you're not using it, you are very vulnerable, especially when you usually set them up in high traffic areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I prefer blast shield to trophy systems. When you can have the blast shield instead of the trophy system, I mean, you're able to block 2 nades pretty consistently. Trophy system, it may hit it, it may not. So that's usually a class that I like to use instead of the trophy system. I like to run blast shield.
Yeah, it's kind of one of them things you got to try and work out here. With the amount of points you can kind of distribute amongst your classes, you've got to work out, are trophy systems going to sort me out better than blast shield? Am I going to need to defend my teammates as well? Or is it just going to be... Because obviously trophy systems have the advantage that they won't just defend you like a blast shield will.
Absolutely, and you see SK is taking pretty much control of this mid-map right now. They pushed a guy up into top bar area, and that's the dominant spot in this map. If you can get a player in top bar, he can turn around and watch B. He can also flip the other way, and he can spawn kill off of A. So, great plays right there out of SK.
It certainly is, and they are going to have a fantastic lead going in the second half, unless Aztecs come back and bring it down a little bit, but it doesn't look like they are. SK have kind of run this now, and it is going to be 88-52 with 18 seconds left. Yeah. And there we go, Raiden 14-10. Any other big scores on there? Not really. It's kind of equal in terms of slaying. But it just looks like SK have just been able to work that objective a little bit harder.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the game, Aztek jumped out and grabbed the B flag. They had it right away, but they just weren't able to hold it. Great plays from SK, especially Raiden, able to break those setups. I mean, and he was able to hold the A flag by himself for a pretty long time. So, really impressive, strong play out of him.
Yep, 38-point advantage now to SK, 93-55. And that is a huge advantage, especially when you're on freight. Yeah. Now, if they want to break it, then they kind of have to hold a 2-cap for at least 3 minutes. It's 12 points a minute. It's going to be very difficult for them to do that, especially against SK. SK's kind of the key point in that one was the split. Yeah. And I've never seen a team hold a split that long without trying to push B or the other team going for a home flag. No, they just weren't able to do it.
They were able to hold split pretty effectively because, they spawn outside red, middle map. They were able to win those one-on-ones on the side and, just ended up being a good favorable spawns for them.
Well, they certainly will. Well, we're going to be back with the second half.